It was breakup night on Boy Band, and we had to break up with two of our favorite boys. We have so much to discuss. Stay right there for the after show of Season 1, Episode 7.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
I can't breathe for the first time.
Welcome back, Boy Band family. So much has happened since you've been gone. Some fun and exciting performances, but also some very sad things. Another double elimination. We have so much to talk about tonight. I'm Stephen Lovegrove. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Dr. Lovegrove. We have the panel here tonight as always, but we also have a special guest. You may know her as Tatum from iZombie on the CW. It's Ava Frye.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm so happy to be here. I'm like, woo.
And can I just say, she really is a super fan of Boy Band. We got to watch it with her, which was a treat in and of itself. So happy to have you here.
Oh,
and then the lovely ladies to the left.
Hello, Suzanne Quast. You can find me on social media at Suzanne Quast.
And I'm Carissa Blades, and you can find me on Twitter at Carissa Blades. Look forward to hearing from you guys.
Yes, we really do love hearing from you. And again, I'm going to acknowledge our live chat gets bigger every week. There's more comments every week. So thank you guys. This is your show. We're happy to do it for you. And I agree with you. This episode was very triggering.
I just read that too.
It was a lot. So we'll start with overall thoughts on the episode. Anyone?
Go ahead.
Yeah. I just want to say I love the opening, which is Boys to Men. I thought it was like very harmonic, and then it turned into like a power anthem. So I really enjoyed that.
And for everybody, and many of you have been saying, I want the 90s boy bands. Why can't we have more vintage boy bands? You got a performance. You got a full performance. What did you guys think of Breakup Week? Did we like this episode?
I did like this episode. However, I'm not crazy about the song choices. I just feel like overall, I don't know if the range was really high for the guys. I just felt like overall, I didn't feel like as much as in the past episodes, I was watching a real life boy band. And maybe the last one, New Wave, I felt like they overall to me felt the most like I was watching an actual performance, but overall, I just wasn't crazy about the music selections.
Well, it's weird. I felt like this week there were songs that I actually liked, whereas other weeks, like that Moana song, I was just like, I don't care.
That's not your favorite, Carissa? How far I'll go? I'm so shocked.
No one knows.
But I'm just saying, because that's not a song that was my favorite. I liked it more when I was singing it. But something like a Kelly Clarkson song that everyone sings in their own car, like you just have high expectations for it. And I would say this week for me was kind of like a wah wah wah.
Yeah. Well, okay, so we're going to start with the opener. Obviously, we have performances to talk about, which we have lots of thoughts on. You guys have lots of thoughts on.
Wait, real quick, can I just address something that
Please.
People are talking about in the opener, that they wish that the boys had done the opener. They miss seeing the boys perform.
You know, so I liked the Boys to Men performance, and I have no complaints about it as a performance, but I think it feels like we get double
Agreed.
from all the boys when we get to watch them in the opener. So normally, I mean, honestly, don't we discuss, even though the architects aren't commenting on the opener, I feel like we discuss how the boys did in both almost equally.
Yeah.
So we got half of the singing that we usually do in that sense. So I'm with you.
But
I hope
in
that we
that regard,
get that opener again.
I bet for the boys it was nice to have a little bit of a break. You know, if you think about how hard they have to work, and not only just for the song and the performance, but then also have to do an opener, I'm sure maybe this week they wanted to give them a little bit of a break. I bet going forward, I mean, they'll be in the openers.
Yeah, I don't know. I will tell you guys, you need to stay tuned to the end for our announcement of the songs next week, because I am very excited. Like, you guys always react, and some weeks you like the set list, some weeks you don't. I think I like this one. I think that you're gonna like this one. So any more thoughts on Boy? I mean, it was just a performance. The problem is we don't have anything to analyze. Boys to Men killed it.
Yeah.
They were great.
Well,
Agreed.
what I did actually find very interesting was, like, at the end of Boys to Men's set, everyone's been talking about J-Hype and Michael Connor, collabing and doing stuff together and doing beatboxing and not needing instrumentals, and they showcased that. So I thought that was very interesting, because I was just like, you know, we've always talked about how having those two in a group can make a group very dynamic, being able to play your own instruments or not needing, like J-Hype doesn't need an instrument. I mean, I don't know, it adds a cool dimension, and watching them, and it's crazy, like their voices are still perfect.
Maybe that's why we had such a high standard, is we had just heard Boys to Men, which was flawless live, so we were live up to that standard.
It was flawless. I mean,
the opening was just beautiful. I was like, you know, like I was just enjoying it, and I was just like soaking up all the harmonies, and then it turned into like this anthem, and it was kind of like, you know what I mean? Yeah.
You being 13, did you know who they were?
I actually didn't know. I was kind of like, you know, a little bit shocked, but like I was shocked in like a really good way. You know, there was nothing like.
It was still enjoyable.
Yeah, no.
I would assume, even if you don't know who they are.
Yeah, no,
still
of
a great
course,
performance.
like, I mean, I have no bad things to say about them.
Yeah.
At all.
Well, and people have been commenting, did the audience know Boys to Men? A lot of them didn't. A lot of the boys didn't.
Yeah,
Some of the boys were in what I've never called it the dugout on this show, but somebody called it. I think Tim called it the dugout, and I was like, oh,
that is
dugout.
what it's shaped like with the cutout and stuff.
And it's lower, and like it is a dugout.
Yeah.
So, and I will say, when I heard the announcement of Breakup Week, I expected a lot of feelsy, emotional songs, which these weren't, like in song selection.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So Boys to Men was the most emotional we got.
You're right.
Yeah.
I mean, not counting eliminations and whatever. I mean, in song choice.
Agreed.
Yeah, I know.
Boys to Men was emotional.
When they did zoom over into the dugout, I did in the opener, like you could see that Marcus knew all the words, and a couple of the other boys were singing along too, and I was like, all right.
Some of them knew.
Yeah, some of them knew. And some of them were deer in the headlights for sure.
Right. So, okay, so before we get into the performances, there was a lot packed into like the first 15 minutes. We met Justin Tranter, who I actually got to meet briefly at the GLAAD Awards. He's fantastic. Yeah. He's written so many hits. I mean, you guys saw Issues and Sorry.
10 platinum.
10 platinum records.
10 times platinum.
Like,
no big deal.
No
Casual.
big deal.
So Justin Tranter wrote the first single of what's going to be the top 5. We just heard a little bit of it. Like we heard the chorus. What did you guys think of that whole segment? What do we think of the new song?
I think they were like very like into it, you know, like dancing and stuff. I really like. I heard like just a little bit, but I thought it was pretty good. Yeah.
Definitely. And then afterwards, when we asked them about it, they all said as soon as they heard it, when they heard who wrote it, they were all excited. And then when they heard it, they were like, oh my God, this is amazing. It's catchy. They said all week they were singing the song with each other, like in between rehearsals and all of that. And then I asked if they could hear their voices in certain aspects of the song, and they were like, absolutely, which is cool. Like when you start to really envision yourself, I think it made the competition, not that it's not real, but it's like this is the prize. And they got to see, and that sort of then added, I think, a level of excitement, but maybe even a little bit of competition. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, they all confirmed that backstage, that like this, it did make it more real. It's like, this is a song. Your voice is going to be on it.
Yeah, it's
or
going to be on the
not
radio.
On it. Like,
right?
I think the stress, it's funny because last week I assumed the stress would get to people at a whole new level because it was double eliminations. But what's interesting is I think that this single thing really got to them because this week shifted the atmosphere way more than last week did. Yeah. I think they were more stressed this week. I think they were more tired this week. Maybe we just saw the long day package of narration that made me think
that's what we were asking them questions about backstage last week, because I was just like, the fans want to know what the heck is going on with these guys. Like, what are you guys doing during the day? Well, you know, besides the social media, the posts that they get to do. And I'm really glad that they showed that this week, because their schedule is jam-packed. They're excited to get to their performances, but think just how physically and emotionally exhausted. I mean, the boys literally fell asleep at the end of their rehearsal waiting for their car to show
up. And then
up.
the Chance made that joke. It was like,
we're called
awake. We're okay for our sleep,
Well, and did you see, they didn't get to Tim until like 4 p.m. in that day. So they've already had one rehearsal and then another choreography, and they still have to go to wardrobe, and it's intense.
Oh, one of the other things I wanted to say about Justin, besides that his glasses were so dope, is that I really liked that he was basically telling them that the fans expect a lot more, and so it wasn't just he didn't try and write them just some catchy, crappy song. Like he is trying to work at a higher level because fans deserve stuff at a higher level. And
Which
that's
is
great.
true.
It is true. And that is a really, I mean, I'm sure that's why he's such a successful writer. Because he wants to connect on a deeper level than just like, well, you want to keep singing this hook.
Yeah.
Well, and I think he takes pop music seriously because he was writing for Carly Rae Jepsen. I don't know if we have any Carly Rae Jepsen fans in the chat or the comments, but he was writing for Carly Rae Jepsen before she blew up. And, you know, he always has written a deeper level of pop music, I feel. So I could not be happier about that. And we talk to fans every week at the show, and they are intelligent, and they are smart, and they are socially conscious. And so they're not just these idiots who just care about cute faces. Like, they do know who can sing. They do know, like, who's doing harmonies. So, yeah, I was happy about Justin Tranter. Let's get into...
And it's a big opportunity.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? People in the chat are very sympathetic with the poor guys, even like Jay and Andrew Bloom. They've heard the single, they imagine themselves in it.
Oh, it's almost worse.
Do you think they should have waited? Some people are saying there's Carly Rae Jepsen fans. That makes me smile. Do you think they should have waited for the top 5 and not revealed it? Would you rather not hear it?
I mean, me as a contestant, or me
No,
as
if
an
you were a
audience?
contestant, right? Not us as viewers. We're like, great,
Yeah.
Jesus, give us the song.
Give us.
I don't know. I can make an argument for both sides of it. I think there's a part of me that might not want to hear it because I don't know, that it's almost like if you don't get there, how devastating it is. However, that could also be something you use as motivation. And I feel like for me, I would also hear the song and see where I could fit into that song. Because I feel like they're choosing it for kind of a specific reason, perhaps, and to see what my role in that song would be. I don't know.
I do wonder, either there's a beatboxing part or there's not. So I do wonder from
Agreed.
J Hype's perspective, listening to it, either there was a beatboxing part or not. And I wonder how that affected him. We didn't get to talk to him tonight because he was gone.
And is there a rapping part?
Devastatingly. Is there a rapping part? I think they hinted at that backstage, and they were like, can we say this? And I said, you don't have to tell us something that you're not supposed to say.
Yeah.
We don't need it that badly. Okay, so Relentless, Since You've Been Gone, first performance of the night. Relentless was Andrew Bloom, Brady, Michael, and Jaden. What did you guys think of Since You've Been Gone?
I think the biggest, one of the biggest things that I noticed in this performance is Michael Connor. I feel like out of all of them, his voice wasn't he wasn't very pitchy. It was actually, I mean, I shouldn't say actually, I do believe that he's gotten to be a really good vocalist, but I thought he really stood out for me. Him, and also, I think Jaden, and not necessarily from a vocal perspective, but from a performance and from a performer's perspective. And not that he sounded good, but I was like watching him and I couldn't take my eyes off of him.
This was not the night of the best vocals.
Agreed.
I don't know.
I don't think any of them would probably say that it was.
No, and we got that backstage.
Yeah.
We're not saying anything that they don't know, but like, I don't know. I mean, I thought Since You've Been Gone started out a little awkward. I thought it got better as it went on. But I mean, overall, it just definitely was not the strongest vocal. Ew, that's a strong opinion.
Oh my god.
I really like that song, so obviously I'm biased, but I thought they had, like, their outfits looked like reject stuff from the Hot Topic. Like, they just didn't, I just thought this group was gonna be so strong, and
the staging was cool, especially there. I was very impressed, but the vocals, and when we went back and listened to them, it just was not the strongest night vocally.
No, and
Agreed.
I feel like that's a song that in your car when you like sing, you're like, since you've been gone, you know what I mean? Like, you just
and they
felt
never
that.
hit it like
Yeah.
that. It was just
It was
like,
kinda
since you've been gone, and it was it felt just they made
felt
it so
light.
pop.
Yeah.
It felt light, like it felt poppy and just like icing.
More of a
It didn't.
karaoke type of thing?
Yeah,
Yes,
it's like the
exactly.
night out with the bros, you know?
And I did think.
I'm laughing at the image of bros jamming out to Since You've Been Gone.
Hey, we do it sometimes. We actually do that sometimes.
Oh, okay, well, our engineer confirms the
Yeah.
bros are jamming out to Since You've Been Gone in
Karaoke
secret.
night.
I also just wrote that, like, Jaden, I was like, I didn't think this was his best night singing, and he is so strong. But when he was hitting that, and again, and again, and again, and I mean, he can hit those notes. I mean, he redeemed himself in the end of that song, and we obviously know from all the past weeks Jaden can friggin' sing. But I mean, yeah, I just kind of thought they were a letdown, and even Brady for me, and I just find him to be completely adorable. I thought he was bleh tonight.
I feel
performance-wise and singing-wise. I was just like, meh.
No offense to my guy Andrew, I really like you, but I feel like he was sort of like not like welcome. You know what I mean? But like Jaden, Michael, and Brady, like they make like such a good tight group, and then Andrew's sort of like the cinnamon. You know? Yeah, I don't know. I mean.
That's good. Actually, that's really good feedback. Well, they said in the beginning of the episode, they started off and said that you need charisma, connection, and chemistry.
Which I'm going to come back to that. When we get to the eliminations, I'm coming back to that. And I'm ready for the comments to blow up about this because I have something to say about that. But I'll save it for the eliminations.
Yeah. But to then, I guess support her point is like he didn't, Andrew Bloom didn't really have that.
Andrew does have an older look. I mean, again, love you, Andrew, no hate, but like he does have an older look, so it's kind of like he's like that extra additive that you add in your like bakery thing, you know?
Oh, he just didn't to you. He doesn't feel like he's part of the group.
Yeah, like I felt like he's that guy who's gonna sing some like country songs at like a bar, like as he says.
I'm rooting for him to be the next Gavin DeGraw.
Yeah,
I really am.
I know.
As soon as he left, I was
me.
like, he could totally become the next Gavin DeGraw, and I'm rooting for him.
He's more like an independent artist. You know what I mean?
Someone in the live chat is saying Jaden should be a soloist, and I'm just like, every week.
This has been a debate every week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody who hasn't watched our show today told us, you guys should discuss Jaden either soloist or in the band. And I said, every week that comes up.
However, I agree, we have this discussion, but when we had some friends there who had little girls and they were 9, and we asked them who stood out to them, and both of them, independent of each other, said Jaden and Devin.
Yeah.
So that's interesting that, I guess on a younger...
I just think it's odd. Normally, if you were to give me this list of 5 and say who will stand out vocally, I would say Andrew Bloom and Jaden. Again, I just think it was a weird night because I agree with you that I came away thinking Michael was the most solid.
Yeah.
I was like, Andrew had some pitchy moments. Jaden had some pitchy moments. I was like, anyway. So, okay, I have to comment on this because, well, first of all, can we acknowledge the little, I know we're already into the performance, but there was that little package beforehand. Mm-hmm. What do we think about the insight that now it's getting more competitive? Like that they feel more competitive. I very much felt that. I think there was, again, I said this already, I think there was a stress there tonight that's just anybody can go home, and, Timbaland was like, you guys have to really shine as soloists. It was that night.
I feel like, you go ahead.
Well, I think that's, no one talked about it, but I think all of the performance elements that they're doing, like the dance moves and everything, is amped up. Like, I could tell in some of the performances that they were out of breath.
Yeah.
And
you're right.
That's true. Why did we not talk about the dancing tonight?
Yeah,
I don't
the,
know.
The architects did not comment on the dance
Right.
part at all.
And that was with some of the other things, like with J-Hype, we'll get to that. But I just think he was dancing and beatboxing, and I'm just looking at them and I'm going, God, they're out. I just felt like a lot of the guys were out of breath tonight, and I feel like that hurt them vocally. And I'm like, I almost feel like they need more dance training because they might not be in Beyonce shape. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where you can just sing
Or
for
J-Lo,
9 hours, or J-Lo shape. And eventually they'll get there. But I think it's kind of hurting everyone at this point because they've amped up how much dancing and choreography and stuff that they're supposed to be doing. It's not as easy of stuff.
I feel like sometimes they're like so tight, they're like, I'm a robot. You know what I mean? You need to let loose and like.
Well, and it stands out because they have the production value was upped.
Agreed.
In terms of they had dancers
Which is
and
cool.
all kinds of cool things with the audience and whatnot.
Yeah.
But like if you have these fluid professional dancers, it's gonna stick out.
Yeah.
If you're not fluid and relaxed, and so I thought that was interesting. I gotta just insert here. I loved that they had Tim slam the door and say, "Back to real life."
Yeah.
It was great. And by the way, I'm just gonna do my little plug for our Tim on on Idol campaign here. Thank you, AFTERBUZZ
Yeah,
family.
thank you. Everybody was tweeting that.
Literally
like, tweet,
over
tweet.
10,000 tweets in a day. We were the #3 trending topic in America. Was Tim on Idol. So my only request is, can we add ABC Network and American Idol to these tweets, because they need to see it, but keep it coming, everyone, because we are doing our best to, as Michael Connor said, make American Idol great again. And I hope that wasn't triggering for anyone.
I retweeted that.
Did you?
Yeah.
So anyway, Tim, I
Had
love
to.
that Tim keeps getting his little moments in the episode, and thank you guys for banding together on that. Sorry, continue, Suzanne.
I just wanted to bring up, because somebody wrote in here, the architects are driving me crazy. And I felt like Brady's feedback tonight was really sort of odd. Did anybody else agree with me?
Yeah, no.
With Nick, I'm
Yeah.
assuming you mean?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I'm distracted because, okay, so somebody in the, I need to acknowledge this. This isn't going to make sense if you're listening, so I'm going to explain. Somebody in the comments is saying Michael is talking about leaving the show. We talked to him backstage and did an interview like normal and didn't hear anything. If someone wants to explain, but see, everyone's freaking out now.
No,
so
not true.
I'm reacting to the fact that it's there. If somebody wants to explain, was this in a live stream? What are you basing this on? I have not heard anything. We did interview him. We didn't hear anything.
And he seemed super engaged and really excited, and there was no hint of that whatsoever.
And there definitely wasn't in his performance.
Right, but people are doing in all caps, hello, Dr. Lovegrove, we need to know. So, Elizabeth, I'm just as confused as you are. Okay, so back to Brady, because I do have some stuff to say here. I am really getting tired of Nick in particular. Emma sometimes. Suzanne's sipping her tea. I am really getting tired of Nick's feedback because I don't think that it's helpful, and I don't think he gives them anything to work with.
He is getting a lot of venom in the live chat of
Nick
people
is?
saying that they hate him. Yeah, if you scroll up a little. Yeah, I don't.
Michael?
No. That Nick.
There's a
Carter.
lot going on in our live chat right now. This is a very active fandom.
Yes, of course.
Okay, so my point is, and I would say the same thing on J-Hype, even though we're not there yet. There's several people that Nick gives the same critique to week after week after week. And he doesn't really see the guys throughout the week, hardly at all. So he just says, like to Andrew Butcher, over and over and over and over again, the same thing. And how are they supposed to even improve on it? So my point is, what is Brady supposed to do with the critique of, well, what if you were in the studio with Max Martin, and are you versatile enough? Great. I don't know. I guess.
What is versatile? Tell us, Nick Carter. What is versatile?
Oh, all right, yes, Nick. If you're,
we're opinionated, and so are our fans. Well, I just feel like, especially Nick. Again, Timbaland to a degree, and Emma not as much, but especially Nick. If I didn't know any better, I would literally think that he just already had opinions about these kids and was just going to come out and say them regardless. Because I truly feel like sometimes his opinions don't match the performance. And I'm like, you're not giving Brady anything specific. You're not giving him anything to improve on. I don't know. I'm done with my rant. Okay. I'm glad that many of you at home agree, because I'm just very opinionated.
I think one of the reasons people might find that annoying too is because remember when the boys were having a hard week and he did take them aside and say that they should be leaning on each other. So I think it annoys people so much because it's like, oh yeah, we do know that he can give actually great advice from his life experience.
From his heart.
Yeah, from his heart. So I think when he's giving something that doesn't seem like he's giving 100%, not
his
honesty.
expertise.
Yeah,
I want to hear from him on
Yes.
chemistry, stage presence, any of that kind of stuff.
Or give him specific things that he can actually do with his voice, or what he needs from him. To just like broadly sort of say, you're right.
And you need to do this.
I mean, I'm just saying, okay, address the Since You've Been Gone performance. Say, Brady, this wasn't your best night vocally or something. But the whole, I don't know. I just think the whole versatility thing gives them nothing to work with. I don't know. Do we have anything else on Since You've Been Gone, or should we be moving on?
The fallback at the end of the performance where they fell into the crowd.
That was a stadium tour moment for the ages.
That was so cool, but that was the thing that made me first start thinking, like, oh, were the guys all gearing up for that? Is that why some of the vocals were like, they were getting nervous to go out and do that stuff at the end? I was just like, okay, this is a lot of choreography. And granted, that was a very cool moment, maybe one of the coolest moments of the night. I thought that was so fun when they fell back in the audience. I wasn't at the live taping this week, so when I saw that, I was like,
again, the staging and like the stuff that Napoleon and Tabitha came up with, they really upped all of that to the next level. It's just, I didn't feel like the vocals matched. But we haven't even talked about dancing hardly on this show. There's been so much talk about rapping and beatboxing and singing in Spanish, and the dancing thing was fairly new. That this was like a super active, right? Yeah, this level of choreography and stuff. So it was just a very different night.
Yeah.
Even a lot going on.
For 2 double eliminations in a row, I feel like the shows were so different. And the sets. So, okay, so we'll move on to Awake, which did the song Without You, of course, by Usher and David Guetta. This group was Drew, Devin, and Chance. And this was, as they pointed out in the little package beforehand, this was the first trio. So I think valid point. Honestly, I think everybody at this point in the groups of 3 or 4, they're all getting solos. Like, nobody's hiding at this point. But I think it's a valid point, especially with the trio, you're going to be exposed. And we're now down to 9, which means many of you have been asking this. We're now down to 9, which means a whole bunch of trios are going to happen because it's going to be 3, 3, and 3 from what we understand. So what do you guys think? They were definitely exposed. What do we think of this performance?
I just want to say straight up, Chance, I love your jacket. It was like really nice with the pink lettering. You know, I really like that.
And it had his daughter's name on it, which was really
sweet.
And they all had roses.
Yeah.
They all had. It was very nice.
It was
thematic
gorgeous,
element. Gotta give credit to wardrobe, which got a little shout out in the show.
Yeah.
I thought that I wrote down that the dance moves look like a real boy band.
Yes.
Like the choreography in this and the dancing of these 3 boys was really good. And I think that vocally it sort of made up, the dancing made up for their lack of, like, I feel like the vocals, you know, again, I feel like this might have been a little bit of a difficult song. So vocally I didn't feel like all the boys sounded like they were their best. But because their choreography was so good, it didn't matter as much to me.
I did get chills, though, in that opening, with Chance in the opening with
Agreed.
into the crowd. I was just like, oh, that was so beautiful. I thought his second solo was a little pitchy for me, which I thought was the reverse for Devin.
That Devin got better as the song went on, and Chance the opposite.
And Chance the opposite. And
Although
Drew's voice is just so great. He's in the band. I'm saying, like, he's just in the band.
I feel like
sorry.
Okay.
When Chance sings, you can see he sings for his daughter, which is like always so sweet to see. And I was.
They're saying in the comments he's a shoo-in, and I will say
I
every
agree.
week
Did
while
I
we're
say
there.
Chance? I meant Drew.
No, you said Drew.
Oh, okay.
But she said
She said
She's
Chance.
coming
Okay.
on
Yeah.
Chance. A lot of, you know what? Okay, and I gotta say, what Justin Tranter was talking about, our AfterBuzz family is proof of, because many of you are saying the singing does matter to us, even with Chance. And many of them are saying, we love Chance, we know he's going to be in the band, we're loyal, but we would have actually respected it if the Architects had mentioned it wasn't his best night vocally.
Yeah.
So it's case in point, you guys are intelligent, you do care about talent, etc. And it was, again, I just wrote down overall, this was not the night for vocals.
Yeah, no, definitely.
By and large, in any of these dance performances.
I thought Nick did give a good critique this time around when he said that Drew is peaking at the right time.
Yeah, Drew's just
His
getting
vocals
better and better.
slayed me.
Yes.
That was a highlight of tonight.
Yeah.
Vocally, Drew
Yes,
continues to
vocally.
amaze. Yes, Drew continues to amaze. I was happy about that.
Yeah, no, same.
I didn't see it live tonight, but one of the things that it has made him, like, I'm like, okay, he's the only... It's weird. I used to think I knew everybody who's in my top 5. Now I'm just like, okay, Drew's in. The rest of y'all are going to fight to the...
That's who you would say is your number one.
I just feel like from seeing him 2 weeks in a row in the studio, he sounds pitch perfect over an audience of screaming girls. And then when you also watch the playback on TV,
he
sounds maybe
pitch
even
perfect.
better. So I'm just like, that's a person who deserves to be in the band. You have to sound good live. Your fans expect you to tour.
And I still,
You know what I
I'm really
mean?
holding off on this,
Especially a boy
but I want to come back to their statement that this is not a singing competition. I am holding off once again. I will make this comment because I had this thought tonight. All of them are at a One Direction level of vocals. Because I will say, as somebody that has always been a fan and listened to One Direction as long as they were together, saw them live, they were not the strongest vocally.
Yeah.
And I do think, I mean, like we said last week or the week before, we're nitpicking now.
Of course.
Of course.
We're at a point where we're nitpicking. But it's not like any of them are bad. Because
No.
I did have the thought tonight. I think they're all at a One Direction level. So it just shows there's a very high bar.
Yeah.
And honestly, this show is asking them to be better.
Yeah,
than
you're
like
right.
a One Direction vocally. Because they're
you-
all good
you're
enough
right.
to do that.
True.
If you would put them all up against One Direction, I bet some of them vocally
We
would
have
be...
better vocals
If
Agreed.
you think
here.
Yeah.
Cam, who by the way went home, and all the fans were very upset about that because they loved his voice. I mean,
is not as good or better.
but he's probably has a better vocal range than any person in Wonder. You know what I
No,
mean?
yeah,
He's
definitely.
amazing. And so we already had people going home last week who have vocals that are above and beyond that. I mean, I think Andrew Bloom's vocals are above it. Do I think that they were tonight? Maybe not. And do I think that he fits in a group?
I so see him as an like individual like solo artist, like him touring alone with his guitar, and like.
Or we could have like an
Andrew Bloom.
Yeah, Andrew
Yeah.
Bloom. Or I could definitely also see like an Andrew squared, like a Bloom and Butcher duo.
Combo?
Yeah, I think they could make cool songs together.
I can
That's
see
They
that.
interesting.
both can hit
Yeah.
that high range.
You know what? I do want to answer this. Somebody in the comments said, are they, well, I won't use the wording they said because there's kids watching, but they said they're so afraid to criticize Chance, they don't want him to get down on himself. I'm not afraid to criticize anyone. I will say it wasn't Chance's night and there were some issues. I just think that doesn't change. Same with Marcus. Marcus's voice cracked last week. I still have him in my top 5 prediction. This week I still have him. Chance didn't have his best vocal night. He's in my top 5 prediction regardless. So,
Here's
I'll say someone had a bad night, but that doesn't change for me that I still think. Same thing with Devin not being the strongest tonight or not being the strongest vocalist, period. He has a quality about him. I still think it's totally possible he's top 5.
Well, I think that's what's the thing with Chance. Regardless, he has that thing, that it thing that girls who are, you know, your age versus women who are older, like he has that it thing. I think that, to be honest and maybe not even to be fair, he doesn't always have to sound as good vocally because he can dance and he's good vocally, but he doesn't have to be the best because he has that it thing.
Well, also in this song, did you notice like there were so many solos in this but when all 3 of them were harmonizing, they all sounded good. And could you imagine if they had 2 other guys singing on top of that? You know, that would be a great, if they added any 2 other people, like if you just threw Jaden in there, or if you just threw Sergio, if you just threw one other person in there harmonizing, that they were even 4 people, their song would have elevated to another level.
Yeah.
But they were all doing solos, so they're a little out of breath and stuff. But I just thought every time that all of them were harmonizing, I was like, oh yes, that sounds great. That sounds great.
Well, and let's point out, from a performance standpoint, if you went to an arena tour and saw them do Without You, right? When it got to the dance moments where they were moving and it was choruses, they would be lip syncing or singing over a track.
You're right.
So
You're
again,
right.
I am not opposed to holding them to a high standard, but also let's be consistent. If we're gonna say from minute whatever of the show tonight, it's not a singing competition. They're already at that One Direction level or higher, is my point. So anything else on Without You before we go to Jealous?
No, I think we're ready.
We're ready? Okay, well, let's go to Jealous. So New Wave was our final group tonight. They did Jealous, and that group was Sergio, Mikey, J-Hype, and Marcus. What did we think of New Wave?
I just have to say, because last week I said that I didn't think Marcus was as strong. Marcus. He was so good tonight. He embodied everything that it meant to be in a boy band. He sang amazing. Oh my God, his dance moves.
Oh, his dance moves. Woo!
Michael Jackson.
Chills. Yes.
He has the it factor,
yes.
the X factor, whatever you want to call it. That thing.
Yes.
He
owns
has
it.
it, but is also one of the best voices. Like even though I say that about Chance and Devin, which I stand by, Marcus has that factor, but also could be the best vocalist.
I didn't
I don't think
almost
he's the
cry when he was talking about his brother in the beginning. I didn't.
No.
I
No,
totally kept
not
it
at
together.
all. Not a terribly emotional family moment. No, I don't know what you're talking about.
It's weird because in shows, they try and manufacture those things to make the audience connect with people. But I'm like, they didn't even have to try with that because he's just so genuine. And just from everything, I love Marcus. I think he's amazing. I
love the t-shirts. The t-shirts were cool.
Yes. Oh,
Everybody,
Team Marcus.
yes.
everybody in here saying this was the best group of the night. Marcus killed it.
I
Marcus
think it
was
was.
amazing. I agree.
think it was because the first two, they moved more in the first two. We need to give them credit. The first two were very elaborate in terms of the movement required. Jealous, they just had to move their hips a little bit around some dancers. But I do think it was the strongest vocally.
Yeah.
I don't know how to feel about this. I thought Sergio really impressed me last week. I talked about that on the show. What did you think of Timbaland's thing of he still needs a breakout moment? What did you guys think?
I agree with that. It's weird. When you saw the promo, like the very first week and you're getting to know people and then you're getting to know them also on social media, I like Sergio's like baby Bruno Mars, like we had and I still feel like we're missing that thing where it's just like, yeah, but who is he? Where does he fit into the group? I don't know. It's weird. When I imagine the top 5, do I imagine him there? I think he's an amazing performer. He lights up when the camera is on him, and I think that you really need that. But I do. That was like one of the only critiques. I was like, yes, that's not exactly how I would have said that, but I feel that energy.
Well, like
too.
I said, I like Timbaland's critiques.
Yeah.
I agree.
Better than.
But I think that it's, I said this a couple weeks ago, and I had Sergio initially in my top 5. And I think it's good feedback that he gives, that he's consistent, but he hasn't.
I think that's huge.
Yes.
Same with Drew. If you can constantly deliver and you
Yes.
never mess up and you blend well with the group and you're not causing issues, I mean, I don't know. It's hard because we do need a star quality, but also I think that says a lot to your ability as a performer.
Yeah, like it means like you're gonna be consistent on tour and you're gonna be consistent when you
Right. We want to
perform.
work with somebody like that. We want to
You can
tour with
always
somebody
count
like
on that person.
Yeah.
But I do think that like there is just like, I feel like I would like to have just one performance where I'm like, that is it. Like if you are everything that I don't know, envisioned you or hoped you would be.
Yeah, like for example, when we watch the playback, it's like we'll all look at each other when there's an amazing moment and be like, that was cool. And when have we done that with Sergio? We haven't done that, and I think.
But can we give him credit that they don't write the arrangements of the song?
No, of course.
So in terms of the choreography, in terms
There's
of where
all
they place
these producing
him,
factors that the boys
Right.
have nothing to do with, and I know
I
it's
just
a
am
bummer.
always listening for, and this is my overall thought of the night, and I've thought this in weeks before, but especially tonight, as we're getting down to the nitty gritty, I said to someone today, if you got this far, any boy that got this far, in my mind, made it to the finals. Because we only have 2 more eliminations, and then we're done.
Also,
we're at that point.
The boys have enough fans at this point that guys who are getting eliminated, if they're not trying to create their own, trying to create music with each other and keep their flow going, then they're idiots. Because so many people already, they're great.
Right. You got to ride the momentum.
Yeah, but they should ride the momentum, but also they're good enough to be in a band. So why the boys who actually naturally have chemistry together should be looking to collab together, especially now that they know the level that they have to be at.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Some of the fans are saying they wish at this stage that Sergio had more of a personality that they could identify with.
I feel like he's sort of like he blends in with the group, and there's nothing wrong with that. But like, I feel like people, especially like Michael, they immediately stand out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Although, again, I did have friends there tonight, and every single person, like out of everybody they pick out of the group, they do pick him out. And they're like, oh, little mini Bruno Mars. But I don't know.
Somebody said that could be working against him
You're
because
right.
people keep
Expectations
comparing
are
him
high.
to established artists, which doesn't let him
create individually. You know?
I don't know. I just think if he's being told where to stand on stage, what part to sing, how to sing it, to what degree is it in his control to create a breakout moment?
Yeah.
That's my point. I'm just always listening to the critiques from the boys' perspective of, you're telling me to have a breakout moment. What part of that is
And
in
when
my
are you
control?
going to give that to me then?
When are you going to give me an opportunity to shine?
To try and
Let
hit
me
those
be
high
the
notes.
star. Right. Well, okay, and so we need to talk about Jay. People in the chat were saying they don't think Jay sounded that bad. I don't think so either. And this is where I'm just going to go in on Nick. Because you can't give someone the same critique for 5 weeks, not acknowledge that they're improving at all, and give them no specifics. He never pretended to be a vocalist. He went into this competition saying he wasn't a singer. Can we at least acknowledge, is he getting better? Is he not getting better? Is he getting better but not fast enough? Like, I don't know. I just felt for him so much. I'm glad that they at least acknowledged he works hard.
And
but
that he's
it's
14.
like, you know, can you give him something specific? At least Timbaland gave Devin the breath thing, which might be partly the dancing or that Devin was sick. But like,
That's good feedback, though.
at least it's something specific.
Agreed.
Do you see what I'm saying?
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I definitely saw an arc happening with him through, like, you know, the beginning of the season to where we are now, like, especially with J-Hype, because he's young and, you know, he's grown as an artist, so I like that.
He's grown
Amen.
so much.
Here's the thing too. Timbaland always, if you look at the stuff that he produces, he always, I shouldn't say always, but a large majority of the time he has beatboxing in his songs. I feel like, I don't know, J-Hype's family, after the show, make sure you reach out to Timbaland if he doesn't already reach out to you. I feel like it's a no-brainer.
It's weird. I did think that J-Hype was going to go home this week. And I just thought it was so sad seeing him crying at the beginning of the episode, saying that he should have gone home the week before. Like, he's just such a humble, nice
Kid,
yes, I just hope everything amazing for him. I seriously think he's wonderful and very mature, and I love him. But he was also set up to fail in the same way that I think the show has set up, like, Michael Connor in things like giving him Spanish for doing this, doing that. People do not understand how hard beatboxing is and how much vocal strain it is.
Oh my gosh,
and,
yeah.
And then he's doing these dance moves and he has a solo.
Yeah. No,
like, I don't even think he had time to catch his breath, let alone he was dancing in between that. So I just don't think he was set up for the best night to have.
Yeah.
You could just tell he was out of breath. I could tell he was out of breath, and I was like, dude, and he was sweating too. Could you just see like the person? I'm like, he is tired.
I could
He's
see that
14. They don't allow.
He's a hard worker. Like, you could definitely see that J-Hype is one of the. I mean, they're all hard workers, but he's like one of them who's like hard work. You know?
Yes.
That's kind of like Judge Judy right there. So.
I do have this question for. I mean, I think it's something we have to consider at this point because there's so few people to choose from. I personally, I was so sad to watch him go home because I thought he was one of just such a solid kid, already so mature and grounded at that age, such a hard worker. But it is a valid question of, if not him,
Then
who do you think it should have been?
I-
I don't think it should have been Devin. I would not have sent Devin home. I don't know who else I would pick. I mean, we're just at that point. And I do think it's nice that a lot of people in the chat were saying maybe this was the night that he had to go home, but we still love him. We're going to follow his career. You know, I think we're at a point where boys, the fans, nobody's wishing ill on anyone at this point. And that's a beautiful thing.
And what about Mikey, you guys? He was in the bottom too.
I didn't understand or agree with either of the times he was in the bottom two. And Suzanne and I had a moment of Lindsay has been wrong before. She can be wrong about Mikey. We love you, Lindsay. Thank you for texting me during the show. But seriously, I'm glad Mikey is back on the architect's good side. What do you guys think of Mikey at this point?
I thought he had a really great performance, and I was happy just on a personal level too to see the mental strength that I think it takes to get to be in the bottom two after the last 2 weeks and to come out and have a performance like he had tonight. I think that shows a lot about his character and who he is, because the amount of pressure that would be and some of the high notes that he had to hit. I thought, I mean, I don't know, kudos to Mikey.
I sat next to I was sitting like directly next to his father last week, and I don't know, I just found it very funny. His dad said I forget his exact comment, but it was like very tough love when he was up there. His dad was just like, well, like, then he's gonna have to work harder next week, and he you know, he basically said something like that will humble him a little to be working harder. And I was just like, God, those kids have such great support system. And then also we saw Mikey backstage, and just he was so genuinely upset, and he was like, you know, it did not feel good to hear that, and I'm gonna have to like reach down in myself and find something this week to pull me back up. And I was
None
just
of
like,
them seem
hello?
entitled. Can I just say, none of them seem entitled to anything, which is great.
Yeah.
But I just, that is the attitude of a winner.
You're right.
And I was just like, he is gonna come back stronger, and he wasn't blaming. Like, he did say, he was like, oh, I didn't know it was gonna be me, but he took that as a reality check, not as like.
This is ridiculous that it was me. You're right. He
Oh
was
my
like, but then
gosh.
clearly it means
How
I
dare
need.
you?
Yeah, he's like, okay, I'm not seeing something, or I was, and he was just like, I'm just gonna work harder, and I was just like, attaboy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you go.
And it was, I'm like, I'm almost twice your age, and I couldn't. I'm like, I don't know if I would have the mental toughness to just turn it around like that.
But what good role models? Because
I
they now have
agreed.
tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of followers that are looking up to these guys. I think that's great. And we have to talk about eliminations. The sad part. The breakup, tragic part of the night. Okay, so I'm just going to go because I've been waiting to say this the whole episode. So at the start of the show, they said, this is not a singing competition. That's not enough. You have to have charisma, chemistry, and connection. And I wrote that down because I thought that's funny. I'm going to follow up with that on your decisions. What I thought was so interesting, and did you guys notice this? After saying that at the beginning of the episode, all they focused on was vocals. They put Devin up for elimination because of vocals. Andrew Bloom was the only exception. And Jay they put up for elimination because of vocals.
Yeah.
So I just want to know, which is it? Because I'm pretty sure you affirmed Devin has charisma, chemistry, and connection. So I just feel as though you need to decide, are we making cuts about charisma and chemistry and connection, or are we making cuts based on vocals? And that was weird to me about the whole episode.
But in their defense, I think at this stage of the game, vocals is obvious.
Yeah.
So like you might not feel like you have to say that vocally.
So they're saying vocals isn't enough? Well, I'm taking it a step further and saying I don't necessarily just want the top 5 vocals if they aren't the best band. So maybe they just meant vocals isn't the only thing that matters.
Yes.
I'm saying I don't need the 5 best vocalists.
Yeah.
And as Tim said, not every boy band has been.
No, can I just say that sometimes the chemistry feels a little bit ingenuine? Like, it doesn't feel like
Of who?
real. Oh.
You don't want to say? You don't have to say.
I don't want to because I don't want to be
Some, but you mean some groups.
Yeah, some groups.
Some of the groups do not feel genuine too.
I mean, yeah, especially Andrew. I mean, Andrew would be, like, really good as a solo artist. I feel like it's kind of awkward putting him with a group because he was born to shine now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like, especially J-Hype. I mean, I feel like sometimes J-Hype should be, like, his own solo. And not to say that he's, like, not good or anything. He's great. Like, the beatboxing thing is, like, on point. And I feel like that deserves in its own thing to be an individual.
I know. I hope he doesn't like give up on
I would be
any
devastated.
song.
I
I don't
He
think
won't.
so. And I don't think
the hardest worker of the show is going to give up now.
No.
J-Hype, let us know.
Yeah.
He's not
keep us
giving
posted.
up.
No, and he has a really good support system, really good parents. I feel like, if for nothing else, this is. I mean, they've said what a great
I
opportunity.
feel like
this has been.
J-Hype should jump on like the Pentatonix Christmas album that's always in Starbucks. Wouldn't he be so dope with that?
Yeah.
I love that you called out their, by the way, now Grammy-winning albums as Starbucks albums.
No, you know how they always like. I'm just like, I feel like that's such a great present that you can always
Shade.
bring at the end. No, I mean that as like a compliment. I'm like,
You
Okay,
give your
so
coworkers, hey guys, this is a present from me to you, a Pentatonix Christmas album. I know it's January, but they were on sale, so.
not on sale. I buy it. I meant that as a compliment.
No, I love Pentatonix Christmas
Yeah,
album.
I think they're amazing.
So, it's like always on my phone.
I want to take a quick poll. If you're in the live chat, let us know. Yes or no. Do you feel like the people they eliminated were right or fair for the episode tonight? What do you guys think?
Yes.
Yes.
Based on what we saw tonight.
I still would I'd love to see J-Hype in the group just because I feel like he's an individual. He's so unique, right? He adds like a flavor, you know? And I mean, I'm kind of sad that he left. Like, I'm going to be honest. I'm just kind of sad.
Yeah, I'm definitely sad that he left. However, I feel like this week for me, I feel like it was obvious who the people were in the group
yeah.
that, didn't quite, like you were saying, whether it was like a chemistry thing or I don't know, or it was a vocal thing, I felt like it was pretty apparent who should be in the bottom 3. And I am sad to see Jay.
I wasn't really, honestly, I wasn't really surprised because we all talked about who we thought was going to leave, and we said.
You all said,
we
yeah.
At that point, well, and again, at that point in the episode, and based on what we saw, I was kind of expecting it.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just, both of them are sad to me in terms of they're both good people and they're both good singers. Jay, I'm just sadder about because he's younger.
Yeah.
I think Andrew's already 19 and can stand alone on himself. Jay Hype, I'm like, oh, but he would have been so good in the band.
And to grow with the band, that would be like amazing to watch.
It is weird. Andrew Bloom was like not one of my favorite people in the beginning, but he was actually growing on me.
Yeah,
so it did make me sadder to see him go. Although I had a feeling that it would be him before we started watching the show, but he's just been growing on me, and I do think his vocals are amazing.
I could never see him a part of the boy band. I could see him as like a country singer or like something along those lines, but I could never see him a part of the boy band, you know.
I didn't even think he was going to be top 8, to be honest. He was not a surprise to me tonight.
Agreed.
Jay Hype, I was really hoping was not.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, and somebody said, Michael on a live stream a little bit ago, said that Jay Hype's elimination really motivated him now to try harder even to get into the band because they both came in the band with the same level of experience.
Yeah.
And he really wants to prove them wrong that like these people that were seen as a rapper or beatboxer really can make it. So I don't know. I think, you know, everybody in the comments, the consensus is fair based on tonight's episode. But we love Jay Hype. We love Andrew Bloom. We're wishing them all well.
Yeah.
And any final thoughts before we... Well, first of all, I want Ava to tell us, where can they find you when you're not here hanging out with us at AfterBuzz? What are you up to? What do you have to tell us about?
I have some exciting projects coming up. I mean, I'm moving from my small town of Vancouver to Los Angeles, which is like crazy. It's like...
Welcome.
Yeah. You know,
LA welcomes you.
I know. I'm glad to be greeted with like warm arms, and I'm so excited to be here. It's like such a big city, and like you guys have really good food here, and I'm a big foodie. Like, I'm not gonna lie, you could always see me at Crafty just eating everything. Everybody knows that. And my Twitter is at the Ava Frye. That's the Ava and then Frye. And then my Instagram is I'm Ava Frye, which is the letter M, Ava Frye, Frye.
Perfect.
Oh, and my YouTube is Ava Frye Official. I want to plug that too.
Yeah. Plug
Amen.
it.
Yes.
And welcome to LA.
Thank
Were
you.
you ever shooting in Vancouver or just living there?
Yes, you know, iZombie films in
That's
Vancouver.
what I thought.
Yeah,
a lot of film for being what you called a small town.
Yeah,
which
there's
is
a lot
a
of
slight
film.
exaggeration.
Well, like
Some
every-
things film in
yeah.
Vancouver now.
Yeah.
I mean, I know, we know everybody in Vancouver. Like, we all, like, know each other. And, I mean, yeah, I'm just excited for this big move. I remember flying on the airplane here, and I saw, like, the Hollywood sign, and I was like, parents, we have landed in the city of angels.
I still
you were
call it
so
that.
adorable.
I don't care how
was just like-
cheesy it is.
No, because when you fly, because especially from Vancouver, you see the Hollywood sign, and you're like, my dreams are coming true. And it's like, you know?
Well, welcome. We're glad
you.
you're here. We're
Thank
glad
you.
you're here tonight. Okay, so this is one of my favorite parts of the episode where we reveal next week's songs. So I have to say, I'm being contradicting with this because they're all female songs, and we all kind of had the
Are
reaction.
they all high songs again?
I don't know
No
if they're
more
high,
high.
but many of you had the same reaction we did, which is making the boys sing Kelly Clarkson is a hard thing and a
Yes.
weird
Agreed.
choice, and is that really the best judge? So the next week, though, the theme is girl power. So for all of you who were like, we don't want them to sing feminine, ABC said, screw you, girl power.
Wow.
So the songs are Lady Gaga's, and please react. I love you guys' reaction to the set list in the comments.
Oh, let's go.
Lady Gaga, oh, here we go.
Oh.
Okay, Lady Gaga's Edge of Glory. Very excited about that. Could be
Cool.
epic. Christina Aguilera's Fighter.
Interesting.
Interesting. And then Sia and David Guetta's Titanium, which please put Jaden on that song
No,
because that's
please put
or
Chance.
Drew
Chance.
on Titanium. That's a hard vocal song.
I
You
know,
want
but
Chance? You can Chance can pull
with
it
the
off.
Brooklyn jacket?
Okay. Well, those are the 3 songs. And there will be bottom 2. So we're done with the double eliminations. Obviously, there's going to be a cut from 8 to 5. So we're not, we still have a big elimination soon coming up. But next week is just an elimination of one person, unless that changes. And it's girl power. Oh, God. I like the songs, but the chat is saying no. Oh, God. This is going to be awful.
No, yes, no.
Hannah Baker, I am with you on liking the songs while everybody else is booing them.
Yeah, Julia White, shout out to you. I like Titanium.
She likes Titanium. What is wrong with ABC? I will say I am sickened. People are not happy about this. I will say they're all going to be exposed.
Yeah.
Nobody gets an unfair time today because their next week is 3, 3, and 3. So, right? Yeah. 3, 3, and 3. So they're going to be exposed.
Very unique for fighter, Lauren Frost. Or Laura Frost.
It's, fighter, I associate fighter with, this is off topic, I associate it with working out. They always play fighter in my class at Barry's. And so I associate with yes!
Right?
But
I feel like there'll be fun performances at
I feel like that's a song that you go on the treadmill and you're like,
right.
Yeah, they make you want to move. I feel like these could be fun.
This could be
performances.
very good or...
I actually I think that's very cool of ABC to be having them do a girl power week.
Yeah.
Right.
Women need support of young men. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and it's I think it's a
Girl
little
power,
ballsy.
yeah,
I would say that they're doing that. I'm just like, oh, and it's
awkward choice of words
No,
for girl power.
No, but seriously,
Very
I
ballsy,
mean,
huh?
yeah, no, I just think, that's a cool thing to have the young guys do that. I mean, that's going to be 80% of their fan base.
You're right.
They should care about uplifting women. I think that's cool.
I don't know about you guys, but I am stoked for Edge of Glory. I could just see one person sing that, and then one person, and then Chance going in,
They're just
Chance
fun
is in her
songs.
band.
Right. He's been in every
I
song.
wonder who's in Ava's top 5. What a mystery.
I wonder, could it be Michael Connor, Chance, and Brady?
Someone said the Glee version of Fighter is a good range. I forgot about that, but that's a good point. And Tim did the arrangement.
There you go.
So how fitting. So, okay, we're going to tell you where to find us on social media. Please continue because we have to say goodbye to Boy Band in 3 weeks, but we need to hang on. So we're hanging on to Tim on Idol, at ABC Network, at American Idol. Ava told us her social media. Follow her. We love her.
Oh, I love you guys too. They're so nice. May I just say, they're the nicest people on earth.
Thank you for confirming that we're not raging, horrible people. I would say that instead of another word backstage. Thank you for that. Tell them where they can find you on social media.
At Suzanne Quast.
And at Carissa Blades. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in.
At the Ava Frye, I'm Ava Frye.
Yes, and Twitter and Instagram at Dr. Lovegrove. Thank you guys for watching. Continue to chat with us all week, as you always do, and we'll see you back here next Thursday night for Girl Power!
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Bye. See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.